Good morning, YouTubers, or maybe it's afternoon or evening where you are, but for me, it's Saturday morning, and today we get to start on the inside of the garden room, and we are going to be insulating the walls and first fixing the electrics for sockets and lights. Let's just jump straight into it. So last night, me and my son, we built these vents. I've had a few comments saying, how are you going to vent underneath the floor? Well, it's a really simple idea really. It's just a little bit of plastic ductwork into a soil and vent pipe, and that's going to stick up. I think I'm going to have two at the back and one at each side. And that will just help the airflow underneath. It's quite sheltered here anyway, but it should still get enough airflow to let moisture in and out so it doesn't get damp underneath. Yeah, I mean, it's really important before you backfill that you do make sure that you either have an air gap around it or you have some sort of vent. Otherwise you'll just get moisture sitting underneath the shed, and then that will obviously rot the timber, which we don't want. So yeah, I'm gonna put these in. I'm gonna concrete around the elbow section, if you like, so it holds it in place. And then I've got just some standard clips that will just clip it nice and tidily onto the back. And I'll probably clip it first, get it all in position, and then concrete it. Let's go. So before I put any insulation in the walls, I'm going to drill all the holes for the electrics so that I can get the drill in between this space and make a decent hole, and then the insulation will come out and leave part of the hole, which will let me run my cables through. Because this is where the main intake is coming in, I'm going to have my consumer unit up here or here somewhere. So I need to bring everything back to here, and I'm going to have the way I'm going to do it is probably a bit overkill, yeah, because we've got three different spaces in here. We're going to have a little shed here, we're going to have a workshop, and we're going to have the gym. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have three individual light circuits, so, or maybe two. I might put the shed one in with the workshop, and then we'll have the gym. And then we're going to have two power circuits, one for the workshop stroke shed and one for the gym. So everything has to come back to this point. So I'm going to bring everything down and through here and just leave it dangling here, so that I know what's what. So really now it's just a case of working out where I'm going to put the lights and where I'm going to put the sockets. The sockets in the workshop are going to be at high level because there's going to be like a workbench all the way around, so they're going to be kind of in about this high. But then in the gym, they're going to be at low level, about 300 off the floor. So that's all fine. So really I just need to start drilling holes and working out my routes, and then working out my spacings for the lights, or at least the first light and the switches. So let's do that now. So I've basically got the first fix in for the lights in the workshop and the shed. So the way it's working is that we've got the switch for the shed, and we've got the power from the consumer unit to the shed, and then we've got the power out, the switch live, or the live. So the live runs from here all the way around to the first light in the office, and the switch comes up from just behind the door. So I might put the switch here, or it might be here, and then the circuit of lights just daisy chains all the way round to the last one up there. So then the power from this one, power in from this one, will then come into the workshop, I mean the dance studio or gym, and then that is going to basically do the same thing. We'll have a switch probably this side, and then all the spotlights in there. So obviously this is all getting checked and wired up by an electrician. So I'm just running the first fix. So I'm just putting the cables where he wants them, and then he'll come in and he'll do the consumer unit, and I'll probably wire up the lights once he's okayed it, because that's quite straightforward. And he'll be doing the connection in the house as well, so I won't be doing any of that, and you need to get a proper electrician to do that for you. Yeah, so in a minute I'm gonna just do the lights in the gym side. As you can see, we've started doing a bit of insulation in the walls, but just a couple of bits, and then I'll start running the ring main for all of the sockets. Okay, let's go. Well, I've just finished insulating the walls. I've used a 75 mil Queen Firm, but you can use Celotex or Kingspan or any of those, any brand of rigid board insulation. And The reason for using 75 is the timber work isn't quite 100 mm, so the 75 gives you a small air gap which your cables can run down, so nothing gets in the way. So that's so it's all done, it's all in, it's gone in nicely. It's not taken too long, and I suppose I've got a couple of bits to do over there where the consumer unit's going. They're the last 2 bits. But I've got a few cables running up there, so I might do that now, I might not. And then, as you can see, I've first fixed the lights in the workshop side, and I've started bringing it over into the gym side. So I'm probably going to first fix that, and then yeah, I suppose that will be it for today. And then the next jobs on the list are to insulate the ceiling. So the cables might get in the way, but they might not. So I'll just pull them around. There's plenty of slack on them, so I can pull them around if I need to. And I've been looking at the layout. I know there's a wall going centrally underneath that RSJ, but I've got the shed at the other end, and I've just been playing with that a little bit. Not sure whether to just have a straight wall and have a slightly bigger shed, or just a small shed with a bit more space in the workshop for maybe like the 3D printer or something over in that corner. So that's still undecided, but what I do need to do is start thinking about ordering the plasterboard for in here, the timber for the remaining internal walls, and the sterling board for the office walls, because I want to use sterling board, not the office walls, sorry, the workshop walls, because if I use sterling board, it means if I want to put anything up on the walls, I always get a good fixing. Otherwise I've got to find the studs, so I think sterling board will work better. And I might have one wall plasterboarded and then maybe blackboard paint it or something like that, so that I can work out designs while I'm in here. So over the weekends, So over the evenings this week I've been cutting the insulationing for the ceiling. Now it's a cold roof and it's quite important that you have ventilation above the insulation to stop condensation. So we've got ventilation can actually get up from the outside between the cladding and the sterling board wall, and there's actually a ventilation gap that comes up and in to where the furring pieces are. So there's plenty of ventilation above the insulation. So the insulation's gone in really well. I'm going to foam in around the edges at some point, but I've got just this last section to do, and then this bit here. But I've got some noggins to cutting first. I've got 2 noggins in there, 2 noggins in that end, and 2 noggins in that end. So I'm going to do that now, and then finish off the insulation. And once that's done, I'm in a position to finish running the lighting circuit, and I'm going to put some external lights in. So I'm going to have 3 lights, one in the middle and one kind of at either end, and they are going to be switched both from this switch here from the gym and this switch here from the workshop. So I'm going to have to do, it's going to be double switched. Is that right? Something like that. So I've got to run some cables so that that works. Yeah. So let's get on with getting the noggins in, and then we can get the installation finished. Let's go. So I finished the wall, And now we are finishing off the first fix electrics. All the lights are in, and we've spent a little bit of time working out exactly where they're going to go so that they're spaced nice and evenly. But we did have a few problems because some of the noggins were in the way, so we've had to sort of shimmy it around a little bit, but it's all nice and sorted now. So all of the lighting cables are in, and now we're running the ring main, which there's only going to be one ring main circuit in here. So we're starting over in the consumer unit, which is right over in that corner, and it's running along this back wall to here, then along this wall, down into these two bits, and then it's going to come back and then around the gym, and then all the way back to the consumer unit. Again, I'm just running the cables, and a qualified electrician will be coming in and wiring everything up, doing all the connections for me. But this is just making sure all the cables are in the right place. Okay, so we've marked out where all the sockets are going, and each socket has the ring main. So the cable, basically, it comes into the socket, and then the same cable, although it is cut, goes out of the socket to the next socket, and it's like a daisy chain. So it goes from socket into socket, out of socket, into socket, out of socket, into socket, out of socket, and eventually you work all the way around the building, and then from the last socket you have to run the cable all the way back to the consumer unit. So you create a ring, a solid ring, and that's why it's called a ring main. And then when you connect all the cables into the sockets, that is what completes the circuit, so that when you turn the electrics on, you get power. Yeah, so that's about it for now. Come back for the next episode. Like, subscribe. If you've got any comments, feel free. If you think I'm doing a good job, let me know. If you think I'm doing a crap job, keep it to yourself. And see you on the next episode. Peace.